Hey everyone, so you finally upgraded to a 4K monitor, or maybe you're diving into some serious 16K video editing, and now your old graphics card is just wheezing under the load. It's that frustrating moment when you're trying to push those high frame rates or render a complex scene, and your GPU just can't keep up without overheating or throttling. It feels like your rig is holding you back every time you try to do something demanding. Well, I ran into the exact same problem last month, and after a lot of digging, I found something that actually keeps up without melting my desk. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I ended up grabbing the MSI Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Ventus 3 XOC. This thing is built for heavy lifting, and it's made a huge difference in my workflow. First off, the 16GB of GDDR6X memory is a beast. I've been editing 8K video lately, and having that much VRAM means I can stack multiple 4K timelines, apply heavy effects, and still have room to spare without the card screaming for mercy. It's not just about raw capacity either. This memory runs on a 256-bit interface, so the bandwidth is there when you need it most, like when you're exporting or scrubbing through high-res footage. The Ada Lovelace Architecture is another game changer. I noticed smoother performance in newer games like Cyberpunk 2077 with the overdrive mode on. The frame rates stay consistent, and the ray tracing actually looks good without tanking my FPS. Even with DLSS enabled, which this card handles like a champ, I'm getting playable frame rates at 4K with all the eye candy turned up. If you're into competitive gaming or just want to future-proof your rig for the next few years, this architecture is a solid bet. Cooling is where this card really shines. MSI's Tri-Frozr 3 cooler keeps things quiet and cool even under heavy loads. I've pushed this thing with Furmark and watched the temp stay well below 70 degrees Celsius, which is impressive for a card this powerful. The fans ramp up when needed, but under normal gaming or editing loads, it's barely audible. That's a huge relief if you're sitting next to your PC for long sessions. Connectivity is another area where this card doesn't cut corners. It's got HDMI 2.1 and DisplayPort 1.4a outputs, which means you can run multiple high refresh rate monitors or even a single 8K display without any issues. I've got a 4K 144Hz monitor and a secondary 1440p 240Hz panel hooked up, and both run flawlessly. If you're into VR or multi-monitor setups, this card has you covered without needing adapters or extra gear. One thing I really appreciate is the build quality. The card feels solid in hand, and the metal backplate adds a nice touch of durability. It's not some flimsy plastic shell that's going to bend or warp over time. MSI also included some RGB lighting on the fans, which is a nice bonus if you're into that kind of thing. It's subtle but adds a little personality to your build without being over the top. Now, no product is perfect, so let me be real for a second. This card is big, like, physically massive. If you've got a smaller case, you'll need to double-check your dimensions before pulling the trigger. I had to rearrange some cables in my case just to make sure everything fit, and the power draw is significant. You'll want a solid 850W power supply at minimum, and make sure your PSU has the right connectors. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to plan for. Also, while the cooling is great, the fans can get a bit loud under extreme stress tests. It's not constant, but if you're running benchmarks or pushing the card to its limits for hours, it's noticeable. For everyday use, though, it's quiet enough that I forget it's even there. All in all, if you're serious about 4K gaming, content creation, or just want a future-proof GPU that won't quit, the MSI RTX 4080 Ventus 3 XOC is a solid pick. It's not cheap, but it delivers where it counts. If you're on the fence, just remember that your current card might be the bottleneck holding you back. You can find all the details in the description below. Hope this helps, and I'll catch you in the next one.